In the murky rivers of northern Europe, archaeologists keep finding them, Viking swords, over 1,000 years old, bearing a single cryptic inscription, Ulfberht. To the Vikings, these were weapons of legend, able to slice through lesser swords and bend without breaking. They were considered almost magical. For centuries, we thought this was just folklore. But when modern scientists analyzed the blades, they discovered a truth far stranger than any myth. The secret to the Ulfberht's power is its metal. Using electron microscopes, metallurgists found it was made from crucible steel. This is an incredibly pure, high-carbon steel created by melting iron ore at extremely high temperatures to remove impurities, or slag. The result is a metal that is both incredibly strong and flexible. Here's the problem. The technology to create crucible steel wasn't invented in Europe until the Industrial Revolution, 800 years later. This discovery created an impossible paradox. Viking-age blacksmiths used simple bloomeries, which were basically clay ovens that couldn't reach temperatures anywhere near the 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit needed to liquefy iron and produce crucible steel. It would be like finding a smartphone in a medieval castle. The material science was centuries ahead of its time. So how did 9th century Norsemen get their hands on a metal from the future? The first theory was that a few Viking smiths were secret geniuses who stumbled upon the complex formula. But crucible steel making is not a simple recipe. It's a delicate, multi-stage process requiring precise temperature control and knowledge of carbon content. The idea that this could be invented by chance in a primitive forge and then kept secret is highly unlikely. The answer, historians realized, probably wasn't in Europe at all. Here is where the story gets weird. While Europeans were still hammering soft iron, smiths in the Middle East and Central Asia had perfected crucible steel. They called it wood steel, and it was a prized commodity. Archaeologists began to look at Viking trade routes, not just west towards England, but east, deep into modern-day Russia and beyond. They followed the path of the legendary Volga trade route, a river highway connecting Scandinavia to the Caspian Sea.
This route led the Vikings directly to the doorstep of the Persian and Abbasid empires, who were masters of steel. The current leading theory is that the Vikings weren't making the steel themselves, they were importing it. They would trade furs, amber, and slaves for dirhams of silver and, crucially, ingots of raw crucible steel from the East. They weren't the inventors, they were the shrewd traders who recognized a superior military technology and bought it. This seems like a solid explanation. It connects a known technology with a known trade route. But this is the detail that complicates everything. The name inscribed on the blade, Ulfberht, is not Norse, it is Frankish, the language of the Germanic kingdom in the heart of Europe, the territory of Charlemagne. Why would the most elite Viking swords, made from Persian steel, be stamped with a Frankish name? The mystery had just deepened. Historians now believe Ulfberht was not a single smith, but a brand name for a specific workshop, likely located in the Rhine region of Francia. This workshop was the Ferrari of its day. They were the only ones with the skill and perhaps the exclusive trade connections to get the crucible steel ingots and forge them into these masterful weapons. The Vikings, who were often raiding Francia, were also their best customers for these high-tech swords. The brand was so famous and valuable that it led to another problem: counterfeiting. As archaeologists studied more of the 170 known Ulfberht swords, they found many were fakes. These were locally made blades of poor quality iron, but stamped with the Ulfberht name to trick buyers. You can often spot the fakes by their spelling errors, like using a single cross at the end instead of two. Even 1,000 years ago, brand piracy was a serious business.
This explains the Frankish name and the inconsistent quality. There was one elite workshop, likely Ulfberht's, with the secret to forging crucible steel, and a host of imitators trying to cash in on the name. The Vikings, as both raiders and traders, would have been desperate to acquire the genuine article, a weapon that gave them a definitive edge in battle. An authentic Ulfberht sword was not just a weapon, it was a status symbol, a piece of cutting-edge military technology. But let's revisit the forging process. Even with a perfect ingot of crucible steel, turning it into a sword is incredibly difficult. If you overheat the metal while forging, you burn out the carbon, ruining its properties. The Ulfberht smiths had to work the metal at a precise, lower temperature, a skill known as heat treatment. This demonstrates a level of metallurgical understanding that is truly remarkable, far beyond simple blacksmithing. They were master craftsmen with secret knowledge. So the picture becomes clearer. Raw, advanced steel from the East, traded up through Russia to a highly specialized workshop in Francia, which then forged the material into legendary swords that were sold and feared throughout the Viking world. This was a story of globalization, 1,000 years before the term was invented. The Ulfberht sword is not just a European artifact, it is a product of a connected world, linking Scandinavian warriors with Persian steelmakers. The Frankish kings, like Charlemagne, actually passed laws forbidding the sale of weapons to the Vikings, whom they considered enemies. The fact that so many Ulfberht swords exist proves this embargo was a complete failure. The profits from this arms trade were clearly too high to resist. The swords were likely smuggled, a black market of high-tech weaponry that flowed from the heart of the empire to its most dangerous foes. The story is one of illicit international arms dealing.
This leads to the question of why this technology vanished. After the Viking Age, the Ulfberht swords stopped appearing. The Volga trade route declined, cutting off the supply of crucible steel from the east, and the specialized knowledge of the Frankish smiths seems to have been lost. Europe would have to wait centuries to rediscover the secrets of high-quality steel. The Ulfberht sword represents a temporary technological peak, a lost art of metallurgy. Let's revisit the counterfeits. While they were inferior, they tell a fascinating story. They show that the Ulfberht brand was so powerful that even a fake was desirable. For a Viking warrior of average means, owning a sword that just looked like a legendary blade might have been enough to inspire fear in an opponent. The psychological impact of the weapon, the terror its reputation created, was almost as important as the quality of its steel. For years, the story seemed settled, steel from the east, forged in the west. But modern science has added one more twist. Scientists can analyze the trace elements within the iron ore to pinpoint its geographical origin. They expected the ore to match mines in Persia or India, the known sources of wood steel. But the analysis of at least one Ulfberht blade pointed somewhere else entirely, a location that no one had ever suspected for this kind of high-quality material. This is a detail most accounts ignore. It suggests there may have been more than one source for this incredible metal. The story of the Volga trade route might be true for some sorts, but not for all. Could there have been a lost European source of high-quality iron ore, or even a lost European technique for making crucible steel that was known only to this one Frankish workshop? The sword is not just a mystery of trade, but of geology and lost industrial secrets.
We are left with a weapon that embodies the complexity of the early medieval world. It's a product of international trade, industrial espionage, brand marketing, and masterful craftsmanship. It shatters the simplistic view of Vikings as mere barbarians. They were part of a complex global network, sophisticated consumers who sought out and acquired the most advanced military technology of their day, no matter how far they had to travel to get it. The name Ulfberht itself remains a ghost. No historical record mentions this master smith or his workshop. His identity and the precise location of his forge are lost to time. All that remains is his work, blades of such high quality that they survived a millennium in mud and water, emerging into the modern world to challenge our understanding of the past. The smith is God, but his brand name has achieved immortality. The quest to understand these swords is a perfect example of how science can illuminate history. What began as a legend was confirmed by metallurgy. What was a mystery of invention became a story of trade. And now, what was a story of trade is becoming a mystery of geology. Each new technology we develop gives us a new way to question the past, revealing that ancient objects still have secrets to tell. The final count of genuine Ulfberht swords is remarkably small, perhaps only a few dozen of the 170 found. These were the weapons of the elite, the richest and most powerful Viking lords. Owning one was like owning a supercar today. It was a tangible symbol of wealth, power, and access to the wider world. These were not the tools of common soldiers, they were the treasures of kings. So we have an impossible metal, a secret arms trade, and a 1,000-year-old case of brand piracy. It's a story that connects the frozen rivers of Scandinavia to the bustling markets of Baghdad. It proves that the Dark Ages were not so dark after all, but illuminated by networks of trade and the glow of exceptionally advanced forges. The Ulfberht sword is a testament to a forgotten chapter in the history of technology.
The story seems complete, a miracle weapon explained by a hidden global economy. But this is the final, unsettling detail. The recent isotopic analysis did not just point to a random new location. The unique chemical signature of the ore used in at least one authentic Ulfberht blade was traced to a specific mine in a country that had absolutely no known contact with the Frankish or Viking worlds, a place they should not have been able to get metal from. This discovery threatens to rewrite everything we thought we knew about the Ulfberht swords. It suggests a third, unknown trade route, a secret supply chain more incredible than the Volga. It opens up the possibility that the medieval world was interconnected in ways that historians have not yet even dreamed of. The mystery is not solved. It has just entered a new, far stranger chapter. To find out the shocking location of this mystery mine, watch the full investigation. PlayAnimation.move.